Hello and welcome back to Today in the NBA, where today I'm going to be going over the Golden State Warriors past regular season, postseason, what they've done in free agency and the offseason so far, going over some more things that they could do in free agency and the rest of the offseason, and looking at some of the outcomes for next season. So to start off, last year the Warriors finished as the 6th seed with, I believe, a record of 44-38, which left them 6th in the West. They didn't have a great season. They definitely could have been better. It's just a lot of their players sort of did struggle to fit, and their younger players didn't really take the step that the Warriors wanted them to. Put that alongside playing with James Wiseman, who probably wasn't too great for the team. They didn't really have as great of a season as they wanted, getting bounced in the second round by the Lakers. Now, there isn't a lot of point in me looking over the Warriors' net ratings from last year. All you need to know is they were really good at home on defense, and really bad on the road on defense. I don't know what that is. This team is full of veterans. I think it might have just been the young players not really being used to the NBA lifestyle, having to travel around so much. So who knows? It might be better this year, or it might be worse. We can't really tell until the season starts. Another thing we need to know before we really start looking at the Warriors' depth and some of their players is that their starting lineup was absolutely phenomenal. I think they were third best in the league amongst all possible lineups, but the bench units were not very good. The starters were a very high net positive, but I think that when the bench came on, sort of ruined it. Even the death lineup from last year, so-called, was when they swapped out Kevon Looney for Jordan Poole. Even that lineup was still a net negative. Their starting lineup was, I believe, the only net positive rating out of all of their lineups. So when the bench was on, they really struggled, and I think that some of the trades they've made have definitely helped to improve. Now, the Warriors did make one big trade, and that was trading Jordan Poole and I think a pick for Chris Paul. I think that this was a pretty solid trade for them, even though it might not have seemed like it at the time. I think getting off of Jordan Poole's money is a good thing, as the new CBA makes it really hard for expensive teams like the Warriors to continue competing at a high level into the future, and Chris Paul will be such a great player for them. Now, the Golden State Warriors depth chart looks like Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins starting, and then off the bench, Corey Joseph, Moses Moody, Gary Payton II, Jonathan Kuminga, and Kevon Looney. Now, I think that when it comes time to start the regular season, I don't think we'll see Chris Paul starting. I know he's come out and said that he wants to start. He started his whole career, he's been a great player, but he's definitely been on the decline lately, and I think he needs to realise that he's not really going to be a starter anymore. I don't think it's really a matter of sucking up his pride. I think it's more of a matter of embracing his new role, and he is going to have to maybe come off the bench, maybe see a few less minutes if he wants to get his ring. So I think that will leave Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney starting, and then off the bench, Chris Paul, Corey Joseph, Gary Payton, Jonathan Kuminga, and Kevon Looney. Maybe even a little bit of Dario Saric minutes in there, but I don't really know about that. The Warriors are a deep team, surprisingly. I've got heaps of bench depth, and that's not even including the 18th pick, I think, in Brandon Podziemski. I think Brandon Podziemski would be the perfect player for a Warriors system, and I could definitely see him receiving minutes, maybe at the 4. I know he's not a very big player, but I think he does play bigger than his height. Maybe Gary Payton could slide to the 4 at a backup position. Who knows? But it's definitely something that we could see, and it would definitely be interesting to see. Now, I think that when we get to the point in the regular season where the standings aren't really defined and there's still a lot of wiggle room to go, maybe 2 games between the 4th seed and the 1st seed, I could see the Warriors lineup looking like this: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney starting, and then off the bench, Chris Paul, Brandon Podziemski, Gary Payton II, Jonathan Kuminga, and Dario Saric. This would mean that Moses Moody fell out of the rotation. I know he was pretty solid for them last year, all things considered, but I don't really think he's going to be as good as Brandon Podziemski, as Brandon Podziemski is sort of the player that would fit the Warriors system perfectly. Now for the Warriors offseason, I'm going to be giving them a solid A-. I think they've been really good. I did like the Chris Paul trade, even though in the video I made about it, I think I said I didn't like it for them, but I think getting off of Jordan Poole's money was really good. Chris Paul's a great player, definitely someone that is going to be able to come in and help straight away with his incredibly high basketball IQ. It's going to make the bench much better if he does end up playing there. I think getting Gary Payton back, was great for them. Corey Joseph, loved the pickup. Love the drafting of both Brandon Podziemski and Trace Jackson-Davis. I think Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody will both get better, and the Dario Saric pickup was nice. He's a pretty solid passer, and he's definitely a player that I think could fit well into the Warriors system. Personally, I don't really think there's anything else the Warriors need to do or should be doing in their offseason. I think they've pretty much got the perfect team for what they need, and I would honestly love to see them keep it this way. Just try and compete. If anything happens and they need to make some changes, I think they're probably a good candidate for a trade deadline team, maybe shipping out Moses Moody or even Jonathan Kuminga. Who knows? We'll have to wait to the trade deadline to see that out. Anyway, my season prediction for the Warriors, I think they're going to finish as a 4th seed with a record of 45-37. I think they'll be a great team. They'll be much better on the road this year, and I think they'll probably be a little bit worse at home, but they were amazing at home last year, so that's not all that big of a deal. I think Steph Curry will be the only player on that team to make an All-Star game. I think he will also make All-NBA first team. Unfortunately though, I think the Warriors get bounced in the second round by the Phoenix Suns, as I don't really think that they have the personnel necessary to defend Booker, Beal, and KD. Anyway, that does it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. If you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I do post daily NBA content, so it is worth keeping up to date on. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.